Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students and all the viewers. Welcome to another video lecture of the Modern Poetry lecture series. And in this lecture, today we will discuss another important poem of Wilfred Owen. The title of the poem is Arms and the Boy. This poem is also like the previous poem that we studied in the last lecture, that was 1914, regarding the World War. This poem is also similar to that theme, right? Firstly, we will go towards its introduction and then we will discuss its text as far as the analysis of the whole poem, and we will do the line by line analysis of all the stanzas in the poem. Introduction of the poem. Firstly, Wilfred Owen, a great poet, a great English poet, as well as a soldier, wrote Arms and the Boy. It is a thought-provoking poem about World War I and its savagery. It was first published in 1917 or 1918. The poem speaks about the boy who is ready to test his deadly weapon. It also illustrates how these bloodthirsty weapons bring destruction to the world. The poem talks about violence ingrained in human nature, creating two separate worlds: the world of fantasy and the world of reality. Understood? So this is the introduction of the poem, that is about the perspective of World War I, right? And now we will explore its text and we will analyze it according to the thematic content of the stanzas. Look at the first stanza. Let the boy try along this buoyant blade, how cold steel is, and keen with hunger of blood, blue with all malice, like a madman's flesh. Like a madman's flesh. It's flesh, not flesh. And thinly drawn with famishing for flesh. So these are in the line number 3, this is flesh, and then line number 4 at the end, it is flesh, right? In the first 4 lines of Arms and the Boy, the speaker begins by referring to the young man, someone who is soon to learn the ways of war. He suggests that this boy learn about and become accustomed to the feel and experience of the buoyant blade. The poet uses personification to describe this blade as bloodthirsty. He paints a terrible image of its intent and its history. This alludes to the wider destructive nature of war and what is in store for the boy if he picks it up. In the last line of this stanza, there is a good example of alliteration with the phrase famishing for fish. As you know, alliteration is the repetition of consonant sounds. So F consonant, this is consonant alphabet, it is being repeated thrice in the last line. So this is alliteration. So the bloodthirsty experiences of the arms, right? Arms and the boy means that he is in the condition of war, right? And there are arms that are weapons, and he is being forced to use those weapons, use those arms, right? So it is thirsty of the blood of the human beings. Understood? Now, dear students, we see the second stanza. Lend him to stroke these blunt bullet heads, which long to muzzle in the hearts of lads, or give him cartridges of fine zinc teeth, sharp with the sharpness of grief and death. In this stanza begins in much the same way as the first. This time, though the poet is describing the bullets and the cartridges, they too are personified. Each element of war seems to have life of its own. It's created for no purpose other than to kill the person it is directed towards. One of the best images of the poem is in the last line of this stanza, where the speaker says the cartridges of fine zinc teeth are sharp with the sharpness of grief and death. So there is a perfect presentation of personification, right? All the war weapons and objects are being personified. They are being given the human characteristics. In stanza 3, the poet says, For this teeth seem for laughing round an apple. There lurk no claws behind his figure's supple, and God will grow no talons at his heels, nor antlers through the thickness of his curls. The last stanza of Arms and the Boy changes the direction of the poem. The poet juxtaposes the terrible armaments of the last two stanzas to the true nature of this young man. He should not be dealing with the bayonet and bullets. Bayonet and bullets are the war instruments. Rather, his teeth should be laughing round an apple. He is not a beast or a monster. There are no claws on his hands or talons at his heels. The boy should not, but likely will, be made into a creature of destruction. So, dear students, in the beginning, the war atmosphere has been presented, and the boy is being shown for using the war instruments. But here, in this stanza, there is he laughing round an apple. These things, laughing and has been used, and it has been being told to us that he is not a beast or monster. He should not kill the others, right? He is not made to be destroy the other creatures. Understood? So there is a shift of the ideas from destruction to love, right? From destruction to peace. Now we discuss the structure of the poem. Arms and the Boy by Wilfred Owen is a 3-stanza poem that is separated into sets of 4 lines. These lines are also made use of a metrical pattern known as iambic pentameter, making them heroic couplets. Iambic pentameter refers to the number of beats per line. In this case, each line contains 5 sets of 2 beats. The first of these is unstressed and the second is stressed. Dear students, iambic pentameter has 5 beats, means total 5 sets of 2 beats and total 10 beats. Beats means syllables. Each set has 2 beats, 2 syllables. One is unstressed and the other is stressed. So such a line that has 10 syllables, 10 beats, it is called iambic pentameter. Several of the end rhymes are imperfect, meaning that they do not completely rhyme. For example, blade and blood at the ends of lines 1 and 2 of the first stanza. Right? Now we see the literary devices that are used in this poem. Owen makes use of several literary devices in Alms and the Boy. These include, but are not limited to, alliteration, enjambment, and personification. The first, alliteration, occurs when words are used in succession, or at least appear close together and begin with the same sound. For example, blind, blunt, bullet, leads at the end of line 1 of the second stanza. Right? As I have told you earlier, that the repetition of a consonant sound is called alliteration, and repetition of vowel sound is called assonance. Another important technique commonly used in poetry is enjambment. It occurs when a line is cut off before its natural stopping point. Enjambment forces a reader down to the next line and the next quickly. One has to move forward in order to comfortably resolve a phrase or sentence. For example, the transition between lines 3 and 4 of the second stanza. Right? Personification. Personification occurs when a poet imbues a non-human creature or object with human characteristic. For example, in the second line of the poem, when the poet describes the bayonet blade as keen with hunger of blood and blue with all malice, this idea into a great simile, like a madman's flesh. So there is personification and as well as simile, right? So these literary devices are really an important element of any piece of poetry, and I hope you have got the point. And one thing one thing has come in my mind, that most of you I have seen haven't subscribed the channel yet. So do subscribe the channel by clicking on this button inside under the video screen in your mobile or in your laptop or computer. Okay, so it will be very much helpful for you as well as for the channel. Thank you very much. And this was the poem Alms and the Boy. This is the second poem that we have discussed in this course of modern poetry. And although we have discussed a lot of poems in modern poetry, but of Wilfred Owen, this is second poem that we have discussed here in this lecture series. And I hope it is easily understandable for you, and you have to write it in the critical analysis and prepare it for your exam. Inshallah, you will be able to get good grades. Thank you very much for watching this video. Inshallah, in next video lecture we will discuss another poem of Wilfred Owen. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz, and good luck to you for your exam, and click on this subscribe button in the end. Thank you very much.